Hello, my name is Heaven Jones, and I will be talking about HIV and AIDS today. HIV and AIDS is a sexually transmitted disease that you can get from not every sexual activity, but almost a good number of them. But HIV and AIDS is mainly transmitted through bodily fluids, which components of basically if the body fluids have mixed with the blood of an infected person, then you will contact HIV and AIDS. HIV and AIDS cannot be contracted by just doing anything. Shaking hands will not give you HIV and AIDS. Um, Sharing a fork, sharing a cup with somebody with HIV and AIDS won't. However, unprotected sex, dirty needles, all such things such as that will transfer blood from an infected person to you or anyone else that is uninfected, you will have HIV and AIDS. But the only clear way to understand if you have HIV and AIDS is to get tested. That is the number one way to figure out. HIV and AIDS is undetectable for the first couple weeks for a new patient. That does not mean you do not have it. That just means that going to get a test early would mean that there's a possibility you could come out saying it's negative, but you still can have it. So the best way to do it is to go get it tested. If it comes out negative, but you still believe you have it, retain from sex and anything that could pass bodily fluids. HIV and AIDS is most prevalent in sub-Sahara Africa, places like Nigeria, Mali, places like that, where low income places where they can't afford healthcare and such like that to fund for testing. A lot of places in Africa can't afford testing because of how run down and poor and in poverty the country is. So mothers constantly are giving birth to HIV um, infected babies, which grow up to be HIV infected children who end up, and it's just a never ending cycle. So over there, it's like no matter what they do, they kind of can't get rid of the HIV and AIDS. Like it's no way to get rid of it because there's no way to stop it from continuing the cycle. It's usually and over there, it's usually transmitted through the mother, through birth, during pregnancy, or during breastfeeding because they don't have the money or the funds for the medication they need, which are antiviral therapy with ART for short. ART medicine suppresses the HIV virus and controls it. So after taking ART for a while, you could be undetected, which means that you have it, but under a normal HIV test, for the first time, you would come up as negative. That doesn't mean that you cured, that the disease has been cured. That just means that it's under control. Like, and just like anything, any type of illness, if you don't treat it, it will get worse. HIV is nothing to play about. The longer you wait to get tested, and the longer you get treatment, the worse and worse you get. And once you've waited too long, that's when AIDS occurred. Once AIDS occurred, there is no turning anything around, no amount of medication. Medication will help, but over time you will get worse. The life expectancy for a person with AIDS is 3 years, and that's with treatment. So it's letting you know that this is no joke. Um, AIDS, AIDS and HIV were thought to originate from a chimpanzee that humans were hunting. No, the funny theories of a person having sex with a chimp was wrong. Either the chimp bit the human host that ended up creating the human immunodeficiency virus because it was simian immunodeficiency virus before. Either the human ate the meat of the infected animal or the animal bit the human. There is no such thing as the human having sex with the animals. That is completely false. HIV is a very big epidemic In the United States, not only HIV is very prevalent among the gay and bisexual community, especially men, men having sex with men, MSM. Um, HIV and AIDS is more common in men than women. It's more common in African American men than women, and let alone Caucasian men and women. HIV and AIDS shows up in people differently, affects them differently. Symptoms for HIV and AIDS range from absolutely nothing to depending on what you had before you actually contacted the disease. So, say if you had cancer before you got HIV, your symptoms will be completely different than a person who just got HIV from having sex for the first time. It's all different. Like, it's not your common cold. It's not something you can just figure out. Like I said, the only way to fully understand if you do have HIV and AIDS is to get tested. That is the only way you will ever really fully know if you do have it. So HIV and AIDS is a big problem amongst kids as well. That is why it's a very big deal that mothers who think they have HIV get tested as soon as possible, because the art medicine can make it so that if you are on it long enough and you're doing it right, you're taking it right, your baby can be born without HIV. You know, it's possible. Nothing's impossible technically, even though the HIV doesn't have a cure, but we can make it so that it all suppresses and that maybe one day this can be a controlled disease instead of like an outbreak. Like, you know. That's pretty much it for the basis of HIV and AIDS. Like, that's pretty much the rundown. It's a STD, STI. Protect yourself. Like, safe sex is better than nothing. Or abstinence. Abstinence is the best option when it comes to STDs and STIs. But if you are going to have sex, protect yourself. Check condoms. All sorts of things. You can get HIV and AIDS through oral, but only if the um the infected person bodily fluids enter you and you have a cut or sore somewhere on your body during those sexual acts. Like, say if there's oral going on and a guy ejaculates in the girl's mouth, the only way she's gonna get the HIV is if she has like a cut in her mouth or something. That's the only way it's gonna happen. It just doesn't happen like people make it seem. Like, blood has to like mix for HIV to enter the bloodstream. That's the only way that's gonna happen. But I hope my rundown on HIV helps somebody understand maybe a little bit. I know it wasn't the best because I'm rushing and I'm honestly, I'm kind of nervous. But HIV and AIDS is a very big deal. It touches very close home because I personally do know a few people with HIV and AIDS. I will not name no names because it's too personal to talk about. But it's something that we really need to talk more about. It's it's an STD. We talk about STDs, but we don't talk about them as much as we need to. Like, there are a lot of teenagers out here having unprotected sex, and they really need to be aware of what really can happen. Get pneumonia for HIV, cancers, all types of illnesses are way more vulnerable to your body once your immune system is suppressed. And that's something that a lot of people need to know. It's not just a cold. It's not just something you can take cold medicine for a couple weeks and it's over with. It's nothing like that. And people really need to understand that. And a lot of people don't know that. Um, I've been learning about HIV all my life. I've done retreats about things like this and stuff like that. I've kind of been preparing, like, I've been prepared for the STD world my whole life. That does sound pretty weird, but what I'm saying is, like, this is nothing new to me. I kind of am I'm not going to say I'm a professional on this topic, but I do know a great deal about it because of how much experience I've had with learning about the topic. And I think that's why I actually chose this topic. But all in all, that's basically, like I said before, the rundown of HIV. And I hope this video helps somebody. And have a good day.